Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for this virtual community meeting for the Palisades fire. My name is Thomas Schutz, Public Information Officer for the Palisades incident. Our run of show today, we're going to have our incident meteorologist talk about the current and upcoming weather. We're going to have our incident commander go over an operational briefing of the map. We're going to have a City of Los Angeles EMD Emergency Operations Center discuss their role in this incident. And then we're going to have the Honorable Congressman Brad Sherman close us out. I'm going to turn it over to our incident meteorologist.
All right, good evening, everybody. Rich Thompson, incident meteorologist, assigned to the Palisades incident. Weather-wise, for the next couple of days, we're still kind of a nice, cool, mid-January pattern, onshore flow, moderate to high humidity, and so forth. So overall, very good conditions for firefighting efforts. However, beginning late Sunday night and continuing through most of next week, we're going to have another round of some very gusty Santa Ana winds. Looking for moderate to strong Santa Ana winds, along with very, very dry conditions in the atmosphere. Humidity is down in the single digits. And so those gusty winds combined with the dry conditions and the critically dry fuel are going to lead the potential for some very significant fire weather conditions across the area. So therefore, we do have a red flag warning in effect currently from 10 a.m. Monday morning until 10 p.m. Tuesday evening. And then after that, a fire weather watch from 10 p.m. Tuesday evening through 10 p.m. Thursday evening. And again, that's for the high expectation of very widespread, extremely critical fire weather conditions that could lead to some very explosive and very rapid fire growth and fire spread for any new starts or anything. So, again, red flag warning fire watches are in effect beginning Monday and continuing through Thursday at this point.
Next up, Incident Commander for the Palisades Fire, Chief Lonnie Olson.
Good evening, everyone. Lonnie Olson, Incident Commander, a part of the Unified Incident Command team here for the Palisades incident, along with Los Angeles County Fire Department, Los Angeles City Fire Department, Los Angeles County Sheriff, and the LAPD. For our incident update, we remain at 2,713 acres. We are now at 49% containment and have over 5,600 personnel assigned to the incident. All of those personnel continue to strengthen control lines as well as mop up any hot spots within the interior of the fire, as well as assist our other agencies in the make safe operations so that we can return people to their homes. For structure loss numbers, the total number is still estimated to be around 5,316. For our confirmed numbers, we have a total of 4,325 structures destroyed. Of that, 3,595 homes have been confirmed destroyed. For our repopulation efforts, we still have over 39,200 Angelenos affected and impacted by our evacuation orders. In our repopulation efforts, I'm going to kind of reiterate what we talked about last night and that long, arduous process within the fire perimeter and what is required to return everyone to their homes. So we have our damage inspection team. 25 teams are currently out going through the damage inspection process. They are at 75% complete. What that process does is it creates a documentation that the homeowners that are impacted by this incident can use for their reimbursement claims as well as their insurance claims. So it's very important documentation that they're out there doing. And through our link tree that our PIO will speak to, you can get to the maps that will show you the status of your homes as they complete those inspections. Moving on to our urban search and rescue teams that are out there going through and making sure that they are identifying hazards that allows our other agencies to get in safely and not be in harm's way, as well as they're looking for missing persons. We have 8 teams and they are at 75% complete. Correction on that, I apologize. For our DINS teams, they are at 62% contained, or 62% complete, and our USAR teams are 75% complete. We still continue to have an active law enforcement investigation into what started the fire, as well as our utility companies are highly engaged, moving directly in behind once our USAR teams have completed their portions of the search to make safe areas so that we can quickly return everybody to the community. And with that, also our Public Works and Caltrans are out there clearing the roads and removing trees. And then our Building and Safety Department is following in closely behind, red tagging structures and making sure that it's safe for people to make re-entry into buildings. on that. And then our public health department is also out there planning for what they're going to do for debris removal in the area, as well as making sure that the water quality and air quality are safe for people to return to their homes. And on one of the biggest parts that's going to be an arduous task is our hazardous material teams are going to have to go in and to identified hazards and make sure that they set up exclusion zones so that everybody remains safe when they get into the area. That concludes it for the repopulation piece. We are aware that there's a significant wind event coming, and please understand that we are preparing and making sure that we are pre-positioned and ready for the next fight should the wind event spark another fire. We are not only will we have the resources here that we can share if another fire breaks out in the area, we are also mobilizing resources within Beaumont, California for the next firefight if they are needed. Thank you.
Before we get to our next speaker, I'd like to remind folks that if you have questions, you could put it in the chat. We'll write those questions down, give them to the most appropriate person to answer, and we're going to do our best to answer as many questions as possible. Next up, from the City of Los Angeles Emergency Management Department and Emergency Operations Center, Daryl Pettigo.
Good evening. My name is Daryl Pettigo, and I'm with the Emergency Management Department, the Emergency Operations Center. The City Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, remains activated to its highest level. Representatives from all emergency recovery-related departments are in person at the EOC, continuing urgent and immediate responses to the fire and delivering resources for the recovery. The EOC's recovery team continues to address the many issues surrounding residents for reentry to evacuated areas of the City of LA impacted by the Palisades fire. Whether or not you are able to return to your properties yet, you can still get started with the recovery process now. Visit lacity.gov website and click on the LA Wildfire Recovery link for information and resources. There are many forms of assistance for individuals and businesses, families, and property owners. Also at lacity.gov, you'll find the links to the best ways to contact city agencies now dealing with missing reports, lost pets, loss of power, housing for victims, and much more. For those awaiting permission to return home, lacity.gov also has updates on zones that can be repopulated and answers for frequently asked questions in the section labeled Re-Entry Information. Sometimes, though, you need to talk to a person. If so, for that, we recommend you visit our Disaster Recovery Center. For the Palisades Fire, that is the West Side DRC, located at the UCLA Research Park West. Address is 10850 Pico Boulevard, Los Angeles. This is a one-stop resource center with representatives from more than 75 public and nonprofit agencies to assist residents and business owners with assisting with impacted by smoke or ash livable again, such as cleaning and repairs, restoring utilities that may have been cut off by public safety reasons, navigating home and business insurance claim processes, and finding licensed repair and rebuilding contractors, replacing medication or referrals for mental health, replacing lost vital records such as driver's license or birth certificates, assistance for businesses impacted by the fires. Since its opening on Tuesday, more than 1,400 households have visited the West Side Disaster Recovery Center. It is open every day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and will remain open to provide services to those impacted by the wildfires. It is going to be open this Monday as well. For more details and information and links to all these recovery resources and more, please visit lacity.org and watch for updates on LA City Unified social media accounts. We will continue to provide updates and resources available to help you navigate this recovery process. The City of Los Angeles family is here to continue to help you. Thank you.
Next up, representing California's 32nd Congressional District, Congressman Brad Sherman.
Thank you. For many decades, I was known as Congressman Brad Sherman from America's best named city, Sherman Oaks, and my district was in the San Fernando Valley. It still is, but they added to my district the Palisades, Malibu, and Brentwood, and I on behalf of the community I now represent, thank you so much to all of the firefighters who are here and out there. You couldn't save everything, but you have saved a big chunk of this city. Thank you very much. I know what's on people's minds, and that is, can I go back to my home? You do want to go to the website, protect.genesis.com. That's protect.genesis.com. You put in your address, you're going to see a map, and some of it's going to be a bit confusing. What you want to do is look on the left side and look for the word reason in all capital letters, and right after that is a sentence that will be clear and will tell you that you're in a warning area, in which case you and your guests are free to go there, but be vigilant. Or it's going to be a residents-only area, or it's going to be a no one is allowed area. But at least it's a clear indication, and you're going to want to check that website as often as you want, because things will change. You're going to want to know what is the status of your home, especially if you can't get in, and it's good to get these reports even if you can get in. You go to recovery.lacounty.gov, and it will give you the inspector's estimate. Is this structure 100% okay, 50% destroyed, more than 50% destroyed, whatever. And you may even get a picture of your home. This is particularly helpful if you're not able to visit your home now. If you still have pets to be checked on, you can call 213-270-8155, and the animal folks will come to you, get your keys, and go check on your pets. I know some people have chickens or other pets that might well survive this period of time without a lot of help. I've served on the Foreign Affairs Committee for a couple of decades, and so I want to take this opportunity not just to help to thank the firefighters from around California and the western states, but also to thank Mexico, Canada, and Israel for sending assistance as well. As has been said, we've got the Disaster Recovery Center, and it's said, they tell you it's at UCLA. That's a bit of a misnomer. It's UCLA-owned property on Pico Boulevard, a couple miles from the UCLA campus. It's the old West Side Pavilion. And yes, the address is 10850 West Pico, open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. 60 different agencies are there, including my office. Postal issues. You're going to want to arrange to have your mail forwarded if you're not going to be in your home for a while. You can go to any post office, show them ID, fill out the card. You can also do it online. If the Postal Service can't deliver mail to your home, you're going to have to go to the post office to get it, at least if it's not being forwarded. The Malibu Post Office is now open, so you can go to the Malibu Post Office and get your mail. The Palisades Post Office, those of you served by the Palisades Post Office, you go to the Rancho Park Post Office. If you were served by the Topanga Post Office, you go to the Santa Monica Post Office. Passports. The passport office will reopen in the federal building in Westwood on Wilshire Boulevard by appointment starting on Tuesday. But what if you can't wait for an appointment because you're planning to travel very soon? You call my office. That's Congressman Brad Sherman, 818-501-9200. Explain how you need to travel very soon, and we'll get you an emergency appointment in most cases. You can go to my website to get information about how to deal with your insurance company. And the website is bradsherman.house.gov. The House is for House of Representatives, bradsherman.house.gov. I'm an old CPA, so I can't resist going through the next details about taxation. First, property taxation. A lot of you have lived in the Palisades for a long time, and you have a very low assessed value due to Proposition 13. The basic rule on Prop 13 is you don't get reassessed unless you sell the property or unless you do new construction. Well, a lot of you are going to be doing new construction because you'll be rebuilding your house or renovating a partially destroyed house. The rule here is if you're rebuilding pretty much what you had before, you are not subject to reassessment, and you can keep your low Proposition 13 property tax assessment. Income taxation. One bit of good news is that for all of LA County, all of the deadlines for income tax for payment and for filing have been delayed until October 15th. Second, I'll get to the fact that you may be getting government grants to help you rebuild. They won't be as large as I think they ought to be, but if you do get a grant, it is tax exempt. Then you can deduct your casualty losses as itemized expenses on Schedule A of your tax return. You get a choice. You can deduct it on your 2024 tax return or your 2025 tax return. So even though the fire was in 2025, you can deduct it as a 2024 itemized deduction. How much can you deduct? You can deduct your uninsured loss. So you got to estimate your loss, estimate how much insurance you're going to get. But you can't take a deduction in excess of your basis. What's your basis? That's what you paid to buy your house, to improve your house, and to buy all the stuff that was in your house that you also lost in this fire. Now, if you get a good insurance settlement, that is not taxable up until the basis that you have in your house and your possessions. If you get an insurance settlement that exceeds that basis, exceeds what you paid for the house and what you paid to improve the house, etc., the first $250,000 is tax exempt. If you're single, $500,000 if you're married, if that's been your house for at least a couple of years. Check with your tax professional, but I know a lot of people are thinking about what their financial situation is going to be, and we'll find that information useful. Speaking of your financial situation, your main funds to rebuild your home is obviously your fire insurance policy, but for many of you, that is inadequate. FEMA will provide grants. You can go to their website to apply for the grant. Up until maybe tomorrow or the next day, certainly for the first week and a half of this crisis, the FEMA website has been sending out a confusing letter to anyone who had any insurance at all. And it looks like a rejection. I have had 4 different conversations with the national head of FEMA. They are fixing this. But if you got one of these letters that looks like a rejection, what it probably means is we can't give you a grant now until we know more about your insurance coverage. So if it says assistance not allowed, that's what it means. Now, even if it says not allowed, they will send you $770 just to get through the problems of today and tomorrow. Then, once you get them the information, there is $43,600 of grant to provide you with the funds to rebuild your home in addition to whatever you get from your insurance. As long as if your insurance coverage is so good that you don't have $43,600 of uninsured losses, you'll get less. In addition, there's another $43,600 to cover uninsured losses to your personal property. That's your car, your furniture, everything in your house. And if you qualify for that, you also qualify, and they'll send you automatically $10,000 match from the state government. So that adds up to about $97,000. That's real money, but it's not enough to rebuild a home if you're uninsured. I today got 10 members of the House of Representatives to join me on a tour of the Palisades. It's one of many things I'm doing to try to galvanize support for Congress providing more than the basic package. What I just outlined for you is the basic package of grants, and my hope is that I can get Congress to do more. I don't have to tell you Washington is all tied up in knots. It is very political. There is a lot of criticism of California. We'll see what we can do. Now, in addition to those grants, there are also SBA loans available. for homeowners. That's $500,000 to rebuild your home, $100,000 to replace things like cars, personal property, deal with health issues. That's a total of $600,000 in loans. Those are at 4% or less, and 12 months. For the first 12 months, you don't actually have to write a check, although the interest accrues. For businesses, it's up to $2 million to cover either or both property losses or economic injury, lost sales. Those loans tend to be at 4% and at 12 months where you don't have to make payments. So I realize that that's a lot of detail. My office is open to help with any of this. And finally, we have got to, and this is a slogan that's been used before, build back better. We'll be looking at the causes of this fire. We'll be looking at what could have been done differently. Obviously, with these winds, it's very hard to build a system that would survive. The one thing to keep in mind, and this is both perhaps a positive and a negative, anything rebuilt in the Palisades is going to have to conform to Chapter 7A of the State Building Code. That is a code that was effective for anything built in places like the Palisades, any fire-prone area, after 2008. So the question is, are these new 2008 standards better? Will they save homes in the future? I've got a bunch of firefighters here who probably understand this better than I do, but I do have one bit of information. The Paradise Fire in Northern California, 55% of the homes that met that new code survived. Only 18% of the homes that didn't meet the new code survived. So we're going to be looking at an awful lot of things, household vegetation management, water delivery systems, but ultimately the Palisades will be rebuilt, and I think it'll be better than ever. I'm Congressman Brad Sherman. Look forward to serving you in the months to come.
All right. Thank you, Congressman Sherman. Next up, we're going to do our question and answer section. So we've been writing down the questions that you've had online. We've distributed it to the folks we think can best answer it, and we'll call them up and do our best to answer your questions.
Okay, so the first question is, will someone sift through the rubble before I have an opportunity to? And the answer is no, with the exception of our firefighters in order to make sure that fires are completely extinguished, or our urban search and rescue teams to perform a rescue or to search for a missing person. Our law enforcement is highly engaged. They are out in the communities patrolling, and they have roadblocks set up to limit the amount of people that may enter the area, and they are ensuring that if anyone enters those areas and attempts to go through your personal belongings, they're being arrested. So the answer is no. Next question is, can you address the air toxicity not covered by AQMD? So general question, so I'm going to take two stabs at it. One, the information should be available on our link tree that takes you to what the current air quality is within the area, including the areas around your home. And if the question is more specific to the hazardous materials, if there is any air toxicity caused by hazardous materials in the area, our hazardous materials teams with Los Angeles Fire Department or the LA County Fire Department will be excluding those areas for your health and safety. How soon will we be able to return to our homes inside the fire perimeter? I understand everybody wants to return. We are working tirelessly. That conversation consumes us day and night as our crews work very hard to get you back in. I do not have a specific timeline that I can give you for those houses yet within the fire perimeter. Thank you.
Good evening, Christian Litz, Operations Section Chief here on the Palisades Fire. This question is, why are we using cadaver dogs from New York and not California? Actually, we are using only cadaver dogs from California. with the USAR teams in on the Palisades fire. Also, another question is, where did we build contingency lines, and from that point on, primary, secondary, and tertiary lines. So if I look at the map here, the ridge systems all along the outer system around the perimeter, we did build contingency lines, and contingency lines are ridge systems. We use heavy equipment and combination with hand line, which is from the hand crews, because where the dozers can't get to, whether it's too steep, rocky, or the terrain itself. We build these lines where we separate the vegetation, so you see big dirt lines along the ridges, and that just gives us another stopping point for these fires. Thank you.
Good evening, Joe Everett, Los Angeles City Fire Department, one of the ICs, part of Unified Command. Question tonight is, what is the ATF update on the investigation? There is no update, as ATF reported a couple days ago at a press conference. As soon as they have an update, they will report it to us. I just want to remind you that ATF's leading an investigation of a national response team with some of the most highly trained arson and cause-determined investigators. Within that are some of the nation's leading experts in brush fire cause and termination. So as they promised, as soon as they have a cause and termination, they'll give it to you. But I also remember during that press conference they said that it's going to take time. That's the best information I can give you at this time.
Hello again, Christian Litz, Operations. So this question is, why can't you ask the Navy to help? We are getting help from a lot of different places. As far as military help, we have the National Guard. We have National Guard in two different functions here. We have guards that are helping us with traffic control and law enforcement needs, and we also have 100-person team that are hand crews that are going out there on the line right now and assisting with suppression repair and other needs around the fire. Thank you. One more time. How are we preparing for the upcoming wind event? So, as we did before, with the wind coming, we know that we are holding on to resources in a robust status. They're organized in certain groups so that we can quickly respond to anywhere in the surrounding area of the fire and even beyond that. We're in constant communication with the local agencies so that the responses can be quicker, and utilize the aircraft as well with this incident so that we can respond to that area and keep those new starts small. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the great questions. This is our last regularly scheduled virtual community meeting. Congressman, did you have? Okay, Congressman is coming up here. Hold on.
Got a lot of people worried about their safe deposit boxes. We were just up in the community. I believe I saw both the Wells Fargo and the U.S. Bank seem to be in great shape. Either Chase or Citi or both seem to be in pretty good shape. I did see what appeared to be a completely burned down building with the giant vault pretty much preserved. I have checked with the California Bankers Association. These vaults are not absolutely fireproof, but they're pretty good. And I would expect that everybody will get into their safe deposit boxes, or the vast majority. And people are concerned, well, if it survived the fire, are they subject to theft? There's plenty of security up there. I'm told at night they have the National Guard looking at these bank locations. So I think your safe deposit boxes are probably good.
That's great information. Thank you, sir. So this is the last regularly scheduled virtual community meeting, but this incident command will continue to be involved in meetings throughout the county as they come up. If you have any questions in the meantime, of course, reach out to us on social media. We also have an incident phone number for the Palisades Fire. That number is 213-484-5604. Again, that number for the public information line for this incident, 213-484-5604. And of course, you can follow this fire at fire.ca.gov. Click on the Palisades Fire, and you'll get all the great information, including evacuation maps, damage inspection maps, and more. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great night.